Good morning. And as Dee just mentioned, my radio show is broadcasting in over 130 countries. I didn't know that till my third week in. And I was just talking about I-44 as if people in Belize knew what that meant. And I will tell you, I have mentioned your name a couple of times on my radio show just recently. And so the truth and the message continues. So I want to ask you, has the CrossFit phenomenon hit Springfield, Missouri yet? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. CrossFit is this incredible, intense exercise regimen, right? And I have a very good friend, his name is Kenny, and he called me Monday and left me a message that said, I've signed us up for a free week of CrossFit. And our first class is at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, there was just so much wrong with that message that I decided not to call him back till the next afternoon. And when I did, he actually got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and went. Trust me when I tell you, I lost no sleep over standing him up. But I did think about it all the more because I was here last on February 2nd, and I remember some of you joined me in an afternoon of sharing in your loss and love of Sean. And we were standing in this sanctuary, and just as we began that time of sacred sharing, I looked out these windows, and the first snowflakes began to fall that day. And my phone began to beep and vibrate, because all of my friends in Tulsa, where I live, were saying, please hurry and get home. It's really bad here. I just saw one snowflake, right? And we finished our time. I went out to the parking lot. The snow had covered the cars and the ground, and I started my journey home. And I had great dry roads. Got to Joplin, my phone's still blowing up. They're telling me it's blizzard-like conditions in Tulsa. I get to Claremore, Catoosa, nothing. I get to Tulsa, 4 miles from my house. It took me 40 minutes to drive that last 4 miles. And I have done one thing since that day. I have eaten my way through winter. Therefore, I have been thinking about Kenny's ask, would you like to come exercise with me? So, I know myself pretty well. I know my health history. I work for a healthcare industry. I know that you're supposed to go and ask your doctor if you're supposed to do this crazy exercise. I went instead to a trainer that I know who is at my gym, and I call it my gym. It's that place that takes money out of my account every month, and I sometimes show up. And it's a pretty nice, swanky gym, and they have this trainer who does evaluations and assessments that will tell you whether or not you're ready to go to the next level of whatever program you might be seeking, whether it's CrossFit or Insanity or boot camp or whatever the case may be. And so I made an appointment the next day, and I went in to have my evaluation. And the trainer had me fill out a form, and he took my vitals, and he led me into the testing area, which was set up much like a mini ropes course. I knew I was in trouble then. And just as we were walking in, he said, let's do a few warm-ups. And he said, let's do some sit-ups and push-ups. And he had my form on his clipboard, and I pointed to it, and he read it, and he said, no UPS. And I don't know what he thought I was going to mail him, but I said, no, that says no ups. And he looked at me quizzically, and he said, what does that mean? And I said, you've just asked me to do sit-ups and push-ups and pull-ups. I don't do ups. And he just kept staring at me. And he said, "What does that mean?" I said, "I don't do ups. It's that simple. I'll do downs. I'll sit down. I'll lay down. Put me up against a blackjack table. I'll double down. Turn some bukkake music on and I'll boogie down. Put a pizza in front of me and I will chow down. I don't do ups. Ups defy gravity. Gravity is a law. I obey the law." So he just rolled his eyes, thought this is probably going to be the longest appointment of my life. And he took me over to this trapeze. And he said, "Okay, we're going to start." And there were 3 trapeze bars in a row. And he starts pushing them so they're swinging, right? He puts me on the first one. And I grab hold of it, and I'm kind of just hanging there in midair. I'm only like 1.5 feet off the ground, not far at all. And there's a mat under me. And he swings the next trapeze bar at me, and I'm standing there, and guess what I do? I duck. I have a lot of practice at that. You see, I grew up in a very small town. Our claim to fame at my high school was its football, basketball, and baseball teams. Well, I was in the music club. And every time they threw a football or basketball or baseball at me, I just watched it. I just ducked. And he continued to swing this bar at me, and he said, "Okay, you're supposed to grab it. Let go of yours and grab hold of the next one. I want you to do all 3, and then we're going to go back." So here's what I did. He swung it to me. I'm holding on, and I grab hold of it. Notice what I'm still doing? Guess what happened? I'll turn this way. All of a sudden, I'm like this, suspended in midair, dangling. And in that moment was a great aha for me. You know, we are living right now in what we call the Lenten season. And if you've been in Unity for any time, you know we study and practice Lent in a different way than most traditional denominations. Traditionally, it is a time of fasting. But in Unity, we talk about and focus upon our thoughts and our thinking. And we let go of any thoughts that are holding us from our higher good. We play around with that mind-emotion field in which we create and dream and imagine, where we plan and create purpose. But in Unity, we say, this is the thought I continue to have, and I'm going to choose again. Perhaps choose to let it go so that I can move on to my next thought. So as I'm dangling there in the air, and he's just rolling his eyes still, that thought came to me. What am I not letting go of to grab hold of the next bar? I'm going to share a quote with you. I've been studying the Tao Te Ching for some time now, and its author, Lao Tzu, wrote this, and it's one of my very favorite quotes. It says, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Will you say that with me? When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. I really want you to take that to heart today. There is an old teaching that many ministers have used, and perhaps you've heard of it. It's called the parable of the trapeze. And in it, it says that life is a series of trapeze swings, and that we are either hanging on a trapeze bar, swinging along merrily, or for a few brief moments, we are hurtling across this space and time in between that bar and the next. And we get to choose if we want to hold on to the trapeze bar of the moment, the one that carries us at a very steady and comfortable rate, where we swing and play and have some form of seeming control. Or we can choose to notice that there is another trapeze bar swinging towards us. It's empty. It has our name on it. It bears our next step, our next growth, our future. And each and every time it happens, we notice it and we hope. We hope that somehow, for some reason, we won't have to let go of our old bar to grab hold of the next. And yet, we know in our heart of hearts that if we don't let go and only grab hold of the new while still holding on to the old, we will be torn apart. We will become stuck, stagnant, bored. It doesn't matter that in all the other times in your life you have previously hurtled across that void of unknowing. It doesn't matter that you know you've always made it. There is still some apprehension, a bit of fear that creeps in that says, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if it's time. And each time we're afraid that we'll miss, and that if we do, we will fall into that bottomless chasm of the unknowing, where there's no net, there's no insurance policy. And yet, we do it time and time again. We let go all the time. You did it this morning. You have moved from one trapeze bar to another throughout this day, throughout this week, throughout your life. How do I know? Because I doubt any of you woke up in this church. You move throughout your day by letting go of one thing so that you can take a step to the next. Oh, somebody did wake up in this church? You've ruined my whole sermon. Okay, everyone back to the back row didn't. I love that. Will you be here second service? Okay. Good to know. This is why I should just never look at a script. It never works. Eric Butterworth once wrote an article for Daily Word, and he entitled it, Rise Above Your Past. And in it, he said this: if you are hoping and praying for some new unfoldment, some inner or outer change, are you ready to let go of the person you have been so you can let the flow of unfoldment be fulfilled through you as the person that you desire to be? As the person God sees you as being? I'm going to read that again. If you are hoping and praying for some new unfoldment, some inner or outer change, are you ready to let go of the person you have been so that you can let the flow of unfoldment be fulfilled through you as the person you desire to be, as the person God sees you as being? You know, we said a scripture earlier, John 8:32. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. These are the words of Jesus. And we often use this. We've heard all master teachers use this. Martin Luther King made it famous again in our lifetime. And we often think that this last piece, the truth will make you free, if we speak the truth now, freedom will occur in our future. But let me tell you what Jesus meant when he said this. He meant that we would be free from the mistakes of the past and the effects of those mistakes. Eric Butterworth went on to say, to know the truth is to let go. To let go of what? To know the truth is to let go of untruths. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Bukeke and I will be here at 1 o'clock today to lead a workshop called the Surrender Adventure. We hope that any and all of you will come. We will be asking a question. We've heard and used the term surrender in our vocabulary over and over, but what does it truly mean? What is your definition of surrender? And is it the same as letting go? Think about that for just a moment. I thought it used to be. And when I step back into that metaphor of me being in the gym on Tuesday, had I just let go, I would have dropped. But I surrendered to my next step. I surrendered to and unto my growth, my future. It included letting go. I want you to think about what it is that you would like to have happen in your life, what it is that you are being called to release in your life, and what is that trapeze bar that is swinging towards you. It may be something new in your career, something new in relationship with a friend or an intimate love, something new in the lifespan. Maybe it's retirement. Maybe it's the next phase of retirement. Whatever it is, name it. And then ask, what is it that I need to let go of to fully grab hold of that bar? The great mystic Rumi once said, that which you are seeking is seeking you. That which you are wanting is wanting you. That which you are becoming is coming to be you. It's where we get the word become. Break it apart. Become. It's coming to be with you as you work through you. And when you surrender every untruth, every aspect of your personality, every mistake that has ever been made, every aspect of lack that keeps you from grabbing hold of that next bar, that keeps it from happening, you surrender unto the universal law that all of us know in the becoming of it. Lao Tzu said, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. One of my very favorite authors, who also has studied the Tao Te Ching, is Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he made a phrase, he took a phrase that we all know, which is, if you believe it, you'll see it. And he turned it around, and he's now teaching this new study that says, you'll see it when you believe it. You'll see the manifestation of it. You'll know it at a deeper level only after you believe it. It's called trust. We get that word from the word truth. And the truth does what? Sets us free. So, for an eternity that can last a microsecond or 1,000 lifetimes, we soar across that void in between our transition, in between the trapeze bars. That void is called transition. It's called change. And, you know, I've noticed that transition doesn't always feel great. We aren't good at change in our culture, and yet everything is always changing. What I notice is that that transition place is the only place that any real change occurs. It's the zone in which is real. The trapeze bars themselves are the illusion. Those bars that I was swinging on, back and forth, I would grab hold of them and I would have that moment of fear and let go and grab the next and on and back and forth. And I realized once again in my life that that was where my growth was happening. in between the bars. That's where all true possibility lies. It's where your change, your transition, whatever name you want to call it, is. And the transition zones of your life are incredibly rich places. And yet we sometimes fear them. And we have a story that says, I don't want to go there. I don't want to let go of the old. But remember, if you don't, what happens? You're stuck. You're pulled apart. It can be terrifying. That's one story. It can also be enlightening. It can be exhilarating. It can be a time that says, this is it, this is me becoming, and that is coming to be with me, as me, through me. In that transition zone, when you let go of what you are, when you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. What I noticed was it had nothing to do with the bars. It had everything to do with the in-between. And what I noticed that for just a microsecond, I learned how to fly. Namaste. God bless you.